All right, so big racing weekend coming up, as big as it gets in January, because we've got the Pegasus World Cup card. It's a phenomenal card of racing. One of the reasons that Gulfstream should stick around, because their racing office does a really good job, and they do put on great cards during the winter when there's just not a ton else going on. Pegasus World Cup, $3 million purse. It's not a great field, but I just think we're in this space now where, with the Saudi Cup and with the Dubai World Cup and the Breeders' Cup only a couple of months in the rear view, it's just the space it occupies on the calendar is not going to draw a field full of superstars. But you do have Saudi Crown, you do have Locked coming in off of the Cigar Mile, you do have a decent sized field. Power Squeeze, the filly, going against the boys, because why the hell not? And then in the Pegasus Turf, West Point's got two runners, you see both of my fingers, runners in Integration and Battle of Normandy. Very exciting. Integration, it's kind of a little bit of a chance for a get back for him after last year in the Pegasus Turf, when he was a pretty heavy favorite. He was 6-5 and just didn't get a great trip, ran fifth. Kind of led to like an up and down year for him, where he only won 2 races out of 7. But he's coming in off a great win in the Red Smith Stakes. Hopefully he works out a good trip under Frankie Dettori. And don't sleep on Battle of Normandy either, man. He's come around. He's won 4 races in a row. Typical Shug horse, done a great job, where he just gets slowly better and better. Just turned 5 years old, and he's got more early speed than Integration. So I think that might serve him well in this race, to be up close, kind of make first run under Jose Ortiz. So I think he's going to be like probably 10 plus to 1, maybe not with the West Point money, but he's going to be a bigger price than Integration. So I would look at him. It's, again, like, not a field full of superstars. Nation's Pride is the horse to beat. Obviously, on his good race, he's going to be tough to handle, but he's coming off a stinker in the Bahrain International Trophy. And that's his only race since he beat us in the Arlington Million in August. So I think he's right for the pick-in. And it's really exciting to have 2 legit shots in $1 million race, and another legit shot in $1 million race that John has sworn me to secrecy on. Can't mention him by name, but there is a horse in the Southwest on Saturday at Oaklawn that we both have a very strong interest in. It's $1 million race that's really drawn a very competitive field. Patch Adams looks like he could be a mega freak for Brad Cox. And it got a 98 buyer and just crushing his opposition last time at Churchill Downs. Ran like 120 and change for 7 furlongs, which you do not often see over at Churchill. A couple other horses with some 90 plus buyers in that race, so that should be pretty exciting. And that leads me into a little tease for what we've got coming up next week. Next Monday, we're going to have the draft for our MAGE Rage Kentucky Derby contest 2025. Go ahead, John. You want to say something?
MAGE Rage. That's all.
Thanks. My sound effects guy, Jon Green, chiming in. So this is super exciting. It's being sponsored, John, by
MAGE, the stallion standing at Airdrie. The if I remember correctly, the 149th winner of the Kentucky Derby and full brother to Dornoch.
Son of Good Magic, obviously a very attractive stallion prospect. And the winner of this contest is going to get a bunch of MAGE swag and, of course, bragging rights. So it's going to be me, my man Jon Green, as well as Michelle Yu, friend of the show, Dan Chordman, friend of the show, Samantha Perry, friend of the show. So it's going to be 5 of us. John, sorry, how many horses are we going to pick
so
each?
Joe, the deal is we're each going to draft 6 horses. The points that those horses earn, we're going to earn, except for, instead of getting, like, if a horse wins a 50-point Derby race, we're going to get 5 of those points. We're going to divide everything by 10 for those of you playing at home, because we just didn't want the numbers to get too outrageous. I didn't want to have to take off my shoes and socks to have to count, how many points that we all have. But Joe, here's the twist. Here's the best part about the contest, as far as I'm concerned. Everyone's got 6 horses. Then the week before the Santa Anita Derby, the Florida Derby, and the Bluegrass, switch match. We get to reserve 4 horses on our stable that cannot be touched. 2 horses then are back into the pool, and somebody can either pick a horse off of somebody else's stable or pick a new horse that hasn't been selected before and add them to their stable. Any points that they earn going forward for any of those horses that are selected at that point get added to your stable points. So whoever's in last place going into those final prep races in April is going to have the first shot at any free agents, for lack of a better term. fourth place person gets next pick, all the way through snake draft, as it were. So we will have all 9 or 10 of these very important rules. So for those of you who want to play at home, if you want to give us suggestions on who you think we should draft, whether it's a maiden that was impressive that maybe is under the radar, or something as obvious, like you said, as Patch Adams, or any of the horses, the Getaway Car, any of the horses out west that are looking good. I think we specifically asked Michelle because she's got a great handle on everything going in California. We asked Sam because she's got a great handle on everything going on in Florida, and then Dan is just a good dude and knows a little bit about the horses also. So he's kind of overarching. And we like his hat, and we like we like the fact that he's a Mets fan also. So all those things. But yes, the MAGE Rage Kentucky Derby contest the draft will be next week, and I'd love to hear any insight or any advice. If you want to private message me, I would greatly appreciate it to give me a leg up, because the last time we did this on the previous show, I think I picked last and I ended up last the entire way. I just barely beat the ambulance, basically.
That leads me to our draft lottery, or little draft order lottery that we did, that Julia did. We'll put it up on the on the video version right now. This was really fun that Julia and Patty did this, and Julia took it very seriously, folded those papers down to like the minute squares, and then completely just covered her eyes. And yet Jon still has a conspiracy theory that he was picked last in the order on purpose. So for those on the audio version, the draft order for next Monday's MAGE Rage Derby Contest draft is Dan, number 1, me, Joe, number 2, Michelle, 3rd, Sam, 4th, and Jon, 5th. But Jon, you really should not be complaining, because it's a snake draft. You'll get to choose twice in a row. Sometimes that's an advantage in fantasy drafts.
True.
And I do love the wrinkle that we can pick new horses later in the season, because some of these horses are going to fall off the Derby trail. So we can't wait for the Derby contest. And like Jon said, we'll take any insight, any info that you got to help us win bragging rights for our Rail Talk family.